What's up, everybody? Welcome into Believe in Kentucky alongside AG Aaron Gershon of the Cat's Paws. One last time, my name is Vinny Hardy. AG, as we talked about last week, you got the move coming and you're going to be heading down south. And so appreciate you hopping on for all these episodes, man. Just thinking back, we did the live one when Cal left for Arkansas.
That's right.
There was a string of late night live episodes we had to do, man. It was just, that was crazy. All the news that was breaking just a few months ago, man. When Pope got hired, Cal was
Yeah.
man.
No, we've had an absolute blast, and I've enjoyed every single episode. It's been great speaking with you every week, every Wednesday. Obviously, when Jaylen was with us as well, and hopefully he'll still be around come football season. I know he's a busy man right now, but I've enjoyed the heck out of it, and I'm gonna miss it. It's been a part of one of the better parts of my week every week for going on 3 years or so, almost exactly 3 years, I think. So had a heck of a lot of fun. I'm very appreciative of the opportunity, obviously, to do this with you every week. And, we're going to enjoy this one, and I'll still come by as a guest every now and then. I may not be here every week, but, I'll make sure to, I'm going to be watching. So I will want to have somewhere to talk about it because I'm not going to have that writing outlet anymore. So, I won't be a stranger by any means, even if we're not doing this every single Wednesday and I'm not your full-time co-host here. But, I'm not, anytime you have me, anytime you want me, and we can make it work, I will make it a point to be here. So, not the last time you'll hear from me, but it'll obviously look a little bit different going forward.
Yeah, well, you always welcome back. Good to know that whenever you works out, you want to hop on and just let
I got to complain
let the thoughts
right?
out. Yeah, you can do it. I remember way back, me being so much older than you, but when iHeart first became a thing, because living out of the state, you just get the local, there was a time I knew more about Tennessee than I did Kentucky living down here because that's all you got. You got local Knoxville, Jim Rome, more local Knoxville sports. So I knew. Then you get iHeart and stuff like that. Like, I can tap in here, Lexington, and Kentucky stuff, and so when that would happen, back then I used to love to try to call in to the shows and stuff like that. I used to call in and be on hold or call in at work when you get a break or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you write and start hosting stuff, and you don't call in as much anymore because you got a place to say stuff and write stuff and that whole thing. So since you don't have the writing outlet, like you said, it works out, you're more than welcome back to come on here and just let the words go whenever you like, man. You can still wordsmith here anytime for sure. So.
No, I appreciate it.
We still in that summertime. We just waiting for the ramp up to start. Not a whole lot going on as it always is this time of year. Yeah, well, we got TBT that everybody will watch for a few weeks next week to kind of get you a little, some former players and all that from the basketball side. And even Ainsley Almanor will be playing with him, which would be cool too, that he went right from playing for Coach Polk to joining La Familia. That'll be cool. SEC Media Days next week, which you did your thing down there for many years, networked and got all kind of audio and listened to all the coaches and players, and they sent the three that you probably thought they would, but it wasn't who you kind of hoped they would. I was hoping like Calzada and Pete, and stuff like that, but nope.
Yeah, no. I get it. You want to send guys who have been there. It's networking for these guys too. Not only with the media, but the other athletes who are down there, and more so the people in the SEC offices. The commissioner of the SEC, and I mean, maybe for them, even media, because you never know. Some of these college players who, even if they're not elite pros, they end up broadcasting. So it's networking for those guys too. And I obviously, you respect that. you respect that side of it, right? And these three guys who they're sending, Alex Safari, Josh Caddis, and Jordan Levitt, they've all been in this program for 3 or more years. They've been through they're really good ambassadors for the program. Obviously Lovett is from in-state, Caddis from just over the border in Cincinnati. Guys who have been loyal to this program, guys who have been through some really good, some really bad, some ugly, some really, really amazing moments. So all that I respect and totally understand. It's just more so you have this opportunity, and we've talked about it throughout the off season to kind of market this program. And we talked about how during the NFL draft, you have Maxwell Harrison lighting up the room and kind of being a guy that everyone's watching, and a guy that is just a social butterfly, and he's dapping up all the guys after they get their name called. And it's like, man, we didn't get to, like I saw it in bits and pieces, talking with him, during the week leading up to games or whatnot, but you didn't, the fans didn't see it as much. So it's just like, okay, why is that? Is what can we do to fix that? And I feel like the obvious thing would have been to kind of have some flavor here, which would have been Shazai Pete, who is like, man, is he a fun interview, and he's got a great personality. He's got a great story. I mean, put away the the personality and the sense of humor he's got. Like the dude, grew up on a Navajo, I believe, Indian reserve. Like he, not a path that many athletes take that that got him to where he's at. And obviously did kind of the right, I wouldn't say there's a right and wrong with the portal, but kind of like the admirable route where he put in the work both at JUCO and New Mexico State. And for his last year is getting a shot in the SEC. Like that's a guy that, yeah, Kentucky's not going to be the team. People are going to talk to the Georgia Bulldogs and Alabama and Auburn, and we get that. But like, if you want to have some sound bites and some positive ones and get your school some good marketing, that guy's going to do the job. And so, and like you said, Zach Calzada, like he's he's got a personality to him as well, and he's got a really cool story also, where he is, he obviously had his struggles when he was in the SEC the first time, and this is kind of a chance for a redemption, if you will. Like he's trying to go out there and prove a point. So, look, it's a little, I get, again, I understand it, but I just think if, from a marketing standpoint, I just feel like there could have been done more. There could have been more done here. And it's a little frustrating. Like, I think all the kids they sent are really good kids, and I've enjoyed covering all of them. It's just like, for example, like Alex Safari is kind of like when they sent Eric Jackson last year, like really, really quiet, well-mannered kid who's not going to say much. He's not going to give away much. He's not going to really
move the needle.
He's not going to move the needle, especially on Thursday when Kentucky's kind of closing shop, and a lot of the media that's there is just kind of, and I've definitely been a part of it, just ready to get the heck out of there and be done. So, you kind of want to have those guys who like Deion Walker moved the needle last year on that last day, and Marcus Cox, I thought Marcus Cox was a good pick last year. I know he ended up not having a very good year, but he's a guy with a big personality, and he made a lot of sense. So, and he was only in the program 2 years. So I was kind of hoping, maybe Kentucky goes that route, but, they end up going with, I think Caddis is the most, I guess, biggest personality of the bunch. I think he's a really good guy to have there, but, and love it too. I know there's an off the field issue that happened there with him this offseason, small, but still, there's something there. So that could lead to some questions you don't necessarily want, but, I can't give them too much grief. I just think it would have been a really, really good idea and a really good strategy if they would have been able to put Pete in there and Calzada for that matter.
And you mentioned Deion and the guys last year, Cox and all those guys, and it got me thinking. In your years going, who's the biggest personality that they took? because Levis wasn't even in. He wasn't. He didn't go. Did
He
he?
went his last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The
So
second year. Okay.
yes,
Okay.
his second year he went. So I would say we'll take Levis out of it because we all know that's an easy answer.
Yeah.
Man, that's a great question. JJ. It would probably be JJ.
Okay.
But they kind of JJ was on his best behavior that day. we didn't get the full JJ experience, but I mean, I've gotten it plenty. I think that's a guy that UK has done a really good job marketing because he's such a good dude off the field with all the charitable work he does.
Yeah.
But
with the Rams now, right? He signed with the Rams.
Yeah, I believe he was at least there for as a summer mini camp workout
Yeah.
or rookie mini camp, whatever that was. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, like I would say JJ. But he was kind of tame. They kept the leash on him a little bit that day.
I mean, we need
Which I
some
understand.
guys. We need some guys to, for the lack of better, just go spur it up. Just say some stuff and throw some stuff out there and zing some people and ruffle a feather or two. But that's kind of not really been the mold. It's been more kind of Stoops like guys, not a whole lot. Just kind of keep it buttoned down, and it's kind of the route they usually go when they pick guys. But I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I just think it would have gone a long way. Just to build some of those positive clips, have some of that in the chamber. But so they went that way. And again, it's nothing against any of these three kids. I've enjoyed covering all of them. They've all been personally respectful and good to me. So I have no qualms with any of them personally. I just think when the program's kind of in a spot where you're trying to get some positivity out there, outside of just the motivated Mark Stoops joke, which look, it's all fun and games and like they're embracing it, which I kind of agree with. But at the end of the day, it's kind of also an insult when you break it all down. So you kind of need some positivity. And I just thought that was a really good outlet. And I think it might be a missed opportunity, but you know what? It'll all get cured and won't matter if they surprise us all and win games.
Yeah, that's it. And I guess that's kind of where they are. It's like there's no need for say anything because nobody's gonna be swayed by what we say at this point. If you're all for us and optimistic, then you're gonna stay that way. If you're kind of ho hum, you're gonna stay that way. And if you're really, if you want him gone, there's nothing you can say to change anybody's position. So I guess that's where they are. They're just gonna hopefully let the product on the field change everything for the better if they're able to do it. So that's kind of looks like the route they're taking. It's like we're not saying anything. We're just gonna, and like you said, the motivated thing.
Yeah,
I'm just leaning into the fact that I haven't been motivated the past 3 years, but I am now. That's that's the perception that is as well too. So it is like you said, kind of an insult, kind of a you've put yourself in that position too because your actions showed that before this year maybe we were questioning how motivated you really were because you were looking at College Station and you did you even want to be here and so now you're motivated and seem to be all in and we'll see come August 30th.
Yeah, where exactly that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to if they want to get rid of all the negativity, they're going to have to win games. It's way easier said than done, of course, but that's what's going to cure all of it. If they go out, especially at SEC home games, like if they can go and win their fair share of those. I mean, I guess there are only 4. If they could, look, we've talked about it. Like Ole Miss is not what they were last year. I don't think they're going to be bad, but I don't think they're nearly what they were last year. I mean, it's almost impossible to be what they were last year with just how good that roster was and how much talent they lost. So it's just, I think, inevitable they take a little bit of a step back, and that game being as early in the year as it is, like that's a really good opportunity. You also have, I think Florida's beatable. I think they're very good as well, especially if Lagway's healthy. But like they're not Georgia. or Georgia when they're at their best. And then,
Right.
Tennessee, we all know Kentucky's had I think Tennessee's really good. Besides the questions at quarterback, which we'll see what happens there. But like Tennessee, we've seen Kentucky have a better team and still not be able to beat them. It's just kind of that's more of a mental one, and that game's at home. So, look, you gotta win some games, especially at home in the SEC. If you do that, you'll get some of the heat off you. If you don't, it's just going to stay this way, if not, and get worse.
That's it. Exactly right. Basketball side, we had a few guys talk. Just to me, you were there, but Jayden Quaintance' voice just didn't. I didn't think he sounded like that. The voice looks a little bit different, and I'm like, oh, okay. Hey,
no, it doesn't match.
Yeah. So, and just again, we know they're kids. We forget they're kids when everybody gets frustrated if they lose some games or don't play well. The extreme people want to go at them on social media and all that. They're kids. That point was driven home again to me because Jayden Quaintance' furthest memories of Kentucky basketball go back to Karl-Anthony Towns. That's like, who's your first memory of Kentucky? And he was like, I can remember Karl-Anthony Towns. That lets you know how young he is. Like, that dude was here in 2015, and that's as far back as he can remember.
That's a young dude.
That's what I'm saying. And look,
he was born in 2007, dude.
It trips me out to hear you call people kids. You're like, he's a good kid. I'm like, dude, you're like a young dude, like, but you're 6-7 years older than this.
2007.
Yes. So
like what?
Like he was 8 years old when Cat and all those guys were here. The 38-1 team, he was 8. He's like in 2nd, 3rd grade. So that's as far back as he can remember. That's like me saying I can remember Kenny Walker, because that was like the 84 team. I was 7 years old. It went to the Final Four. That's and there's when he said that, I'm like, wow, he can remember Cat and them. That's as far back as he goes. So it just drives home that point again. People get all bent out of shape when they lose, but they're 18, 17-year-old kids, literally out there, So
yeah, it's crazy. And I don't think this was an age thing, but Cam Williams said his favorite Kentucky player is Kobe Bryant. So I'm hoping he can. I know he's older, but like that was the first Pope era guy that I've ever heard as the answer. So that was interesting. But now, Quaintance is a young man, and he's just scratching the surface of what he can be, obviously, and that's what makes him so exciting. And obviously the potential there is through the roof. So, but yeah, that I did overhear that answer. That was pretty funny. And you like that? He clearly, he wanted to be here. I think even last year, I think it was more so a thing where Mark Pope wanted to kind of start over, and you could tell he's giddy about being here. He's been friends with Jasper and Malachi through AAU. Like he's already has relationships built, here in Lexington, both with current players, with former players, with both, with this coaching staff now, even, when they were discussing things last year, like there's a lot of trust already built there, and it just seems like a perfect fit. And really, honestly, it's all going to come down to him is, how's that knee? Like, is it truly healthy? Is he truly going to be able to be back when they need him to be? Which I don't think, like, if he misses the first game or two, I don't think anyone's going to have a problem. But then when it gets to, okay, like, is it going to drag out? Which we've seen these things drag out here before.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Yeah, no. And hopefully it doesn't come to that. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. But, it's part of it. So it's going to be really interesting to see, how this thing plays out. But if he, assuming health, which is the fun thing to do, like this is a guy who should be, if not a lottery pick, a first round talent, and a guy that's all SEC defense, first or second, third SEC team guy. I mean, he's highly talented. He was averaging 2.5 blocks per game at 16 years old in the Big 12 last year. All Big 12 defensive team, really, really good conference out there. Wasn't what the SEC was last year, but historically even better than the SEC. So this is a guy who is capable of being a superstar, and health is a legitimate concern and worry. When the thing to remember with any injury is guys heal differently, and these ACLs, the science and the surgeries and all that has gotten so much better and more advanced as the years have gone on, but there's still a lot to play out there. So I would preach patience with his situation. I would hope for the best and not expect anything. Just expect them to be on the field, or on the court at some point, but just don't put a timeline on it.
Right.
And remember, Mark Pope last year put a 6-week timeline on Kirk Caruso and he never came back. So all these, it's one of those things where you just don't know until you know. And they'll get it figured out. They'll do right by the player. That's one thing I know, is they will do right by the player, and they won't rush him back, and they won't have him in the lineup or in the rotation or back on the court until they feel he is 100% ready to go.
So going back to the part about where you said he probably wanted to be here last year, and he seems really, really excited to be here now this year. You think that was like Mark Pope just, I don't want any leftover remnants of Cal here. I just want to come in and do it all. Because, the only holdover was Travis Perry, who, of course, hadn't played either. But you think that was Pope more so wanting to just start all the way fresh with a clean slate and then bring him back a year later?
He is really smart, so maybe he did have the fortitude to say, hey, let's bring him back next year if he's in the portal. But I think more so I think he did want to start clean with a clean slate and start with his group of guys that he recruited and felt like was the right culture fit at that time. And not that I don't think he thought anything poorly of Jayden Quaintance at all. I just think more so wanting his guys and wanting his staff to make their evaluations and kind of separate themselves from the Cal era. That's why. Yeah,
not having people say, well, he's only doing it because he got Cal's guy.
Exactly.
Which all the Tubby won that championship with Rick's players. That's what you hear about the '98 team over and over. Even though I don't know if Rick would have won with that team. You got Cameron Mills and the walk-ons and all the NBA dudes were gone. Like Mercer, Delk, Walker, McCarty, all those guys were gone. And then you got Jeff Shepard and Scott Padgett. So it's a totally different. Maybe Rick still does, but it's somewhat disingenuous to tell me, well, he won it with Rick's players, even though they were Patino guys. Give him credit for coaching them and molding them and coming in year one. So Pope eliminated that by not even having Quaintance. Travis Perry was there, but that was it, like you said. So maybe that was the way he was approaching it. I just don't want to have anybody saying, "Oh, he's doing it with the Cal kid."
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. I just think that's exactly, I think, where that stood. And I don't think there was obviously it worked out. So no harm there.
Yep. Can't have the last episode without flipping to your Yankees for a little bit. Now, I know you want Aaron Boone fired. You've been wanting him gone.
Has to.
What turns around quicker, them as a whole, or was Aaron Judge was in a little funk there? Who gets?
Oh, Judge has already gotten going. So okay, he's homered in 6 and 9 and had a 3-run double, I think, tonight. So that guy's always going. That guy's always going to be fine.
So everybody can go back to tweeting out Aaron Judge greatness again because of, he was okay. All right.
Yeah, it's that it's safe to proceed there.
You want them to keep winning in spite of Boone, or do you want him to
I'm
dip a
never
little
gonna
bit?
I'm never gonna root for them to lose, but yeah, dude.
I mean,
Look, it's just I just have my. It just they haven't. I guess the word I'm looking. They haven't taken that next step. Like, yes, they got to the World Series, but the defense that has been an issue his whole tenure here, and these really bad summer stretches in June and July, like those have been going on his entire tenure, like or since 2021, I believe it started. Like they'll play really well in April and May, and then they'll dip down in June and July and hit these swoons, as we call them, and then then they'll play well in August and September and pull you back in, and they won't be able to finish the job when it matters. So it's kind of just one of those things where, I say it all the time. I said it on here. In sports, when you're not doing anything, you're getting worse, and that's kind of just how I feel about the situation. I don't think he's the worst manager in baseball history. I'm just not sure that he has elevated them to where they need to be. And I understand that, these managers nowadays are not going to be the screamers and the disciplinarians, and they're not going to go crazy. And I get and respect all that, but you got to have some oomph to you. You got to do a little bit more, in my opinion. And it gets a little frustrating at times, but they'll be in the mix at the end of the day. It's just let's see if they can actually get it done.
So in a perfect world, you would have kept Tibbs and Boone would have been gone, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Mike Brown thing is so interesting because I don't dislike Mike Brown. I just like, are you upgrading? Like, that's my question. I'm genuinely curious. Like, maybe they are, and I hope they are. Trust me, I really hope they are. But my question is, are they upgrading? So, we'll see. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, yeah. And Dabo, if they don't win, is he out? You done with him, or?
The thing is, I like him. You lose the locker room if you can't. Like, if you have 3 bad years in a row, and it's really tough in this league. So, my issues there are more with the general manager. I mean, there's been some pretty bad drafts. There's been some questionable contracts with Daniel Jones. There's been, it's been more of the GM. Let's put it that way. I think the coaching is good enough. I think it's really hard to win with the offensive lines that have been put in place. I think it's really hard to win with Tommy DeVito starting games. Obviously the Giants played really well with Tyrod Taylor in there. And I think that's, I think Taylor is a serviceable backup, but I think the fact they were winning ball games and looking good doing so on offense with him, I think that a lot of that is Brian Dable. He's a really good quarterbacks coach. And I actually have a lot more confidence in him than I do maybe some other Giants fans. And I think his first year doing what he did with that little talent, I think has a large part of it. And maybe I'm clinging on to that too much, but he's actually a guy I have confidence in. But if they have another bad season, like, I can't get mad if they move on. It's par for the course. But it's been nice, having a coach who's been with the Giants for more than 2 years, even if it hasn't been a perfect era, I guess, for them by any means.
Yeah. So all those things to watch in New York sports for all your teams. So
yes,
we will keep on trudging through summer, keep on progressing. We got the All-Star game next weekend. That'll be the highlight of for me as a Braves fan. That'll be the highlight of our season.
Yeah, you guys. Oh no, it's been a rough one.
So we got that going, and we getting smacked by the minor league A's. Hey man,
yeah, in Sacramento and everything.
Yeah, they don't even have a home. They don't even have a place.
They're homeless. Yeah,
out here just beating us down like that, man. Hey, so we got home run derby and the celebrity game and the All-Star game and all
Yeah,
that. So.
is this the first year they're finally? I know they're back to them, but I forget if it was last year or this year where they're finally wearing their real uniforms for the game.
Oh,
I'm gonna look right now. Like you're like they'll wear like the funky. Okay, so this is the
American.
Yeah, this is the first year back. Like they're gonna actually wear their like the National Leaguers will wear their home jerseys from their squads, like, and the visitors will wear their actual road unis. So
Right. Okay.
Ronald Acuna will be wearing that pretty Braves white jersey. He's not going to be wearing some goofy custom made all-star jersey. So I'm excited for the aesthetics of that.
Yeah, that is nice because it's, to me, it's the greatest pickup game ever.
No
so
question.
I think you should represent your team more so instead of just having a specific. I liked it when the NBA did it. The East was in their road, whatever city you're in. If you're in the Western Conference, they had the home white or whatever. I liked it.
And the thing is, they never even look good. Like, go look at the pictures of last year's All-Star jerseys, what they're wearing in that game. They're an embarrassment.
And when you go to the park, to play pickup, nobody's wearing the same stuff. And it takes you 8 minutes to realize, okay, him. He's on my team. He's on my team. All right. And you get it.
Yes.
So, they can do the same thing. The dark colors, we're wearing dark. They're wearing white. All right, let's play. But
yes,
I'm with you. One little UK nugget of news that just happened. Breaking news: Devin Booker signs a 2-year, $145 million max extension with Phoenix through the 29-30 season.
He's got a lot of work to do in Phoenix.
The highest annual extension highest annual extension salary in NBA history. And then Jessica Holtz and his dad, Melvin Booker, told ESPN. So Book getting another bag. And they don't have KD anymore. I forget who else out there. They were trying to get Reed Shepherd, and the Rockets said Green. No. Yeah, and
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, I was cool. I was
Mark
cool giving. From Charlotte. Yeah, I was cool giving Jalen Green another year to see if he could become a consistent star player. But apparently Raphael Stone and Udoka were like, no. So if KD was 33, I feel a whole lot better about that whole trade. But he's 37, so we'll see. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm hopeful. I'm just they were second in the West last year, and you had a lot of young talent. Reed should get to play. Reed was not part of the trade, so it makes a lot of chance for him to get minutes and grab hold of one of the guard spots. And his shooting is still going to be needed. KD brings scoring too, but they got Reed third last year for his shooting, so hopefully he can step in there and year two be ready to contribute. He kind of ended on a little injury and didn't play a whole lot, but hopefully for big year 2 from Reed for my Rockets, that'd be cool as well.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Sure. Well, as we talked about, man, it's been tons of fun. AG, wish you and the missus nothing but the best going forward. Hope everything goes as smooth as possible. And look, down there, they're getting a good one there in Sarasota.
I appreciate you,
new college of
Florida.
All right, so getting a good one, as they already know, and y'all will be down there and hit the ground running, and hope you go to Matt May route like you talked about, or however you want to do it, man. Wish you all the best and appreciate everything you did here, all the listeners and viewers that watched and subscribed and rated and reviewed. Enjoyed Aaron at the Cat's Paws. Definitely appreciate it. And we'll be back next week. And like you said, you'll be a guest whenever you want to be and whenever it works for your schedule. We'd love to have you back for your insights, man. Enjoyed it.
I won't be a stranger. And again, I appreciate you and I appreciate this every Wednesday. And I won't be here every week, but I'll be checking in for sure.
Absolutely. We'll put a bow in this episode, y'all. But another episode of Believe in Kentucky. AG's last ride. But hey, we're gonna miss him, but we'll have him back in the future. So y'all keep tuning in. We'll keep working our way through this summer. Rate, review, and subscribe. This has been another episode of Believe in Kentucky on the Believe Network.